So I have some very important things I want to talk about today. It's actually very good that I make a podcast episode every single day because you get to see what's raw and real. I don't have to sit here and pretend like I'm this perfect person, which kind of everyone online seems to do. Like what you see online is the best of people's lives. The good thing about this show, as much as not a lot of people watch it, the good thing about the show is that I get to be kind of raw and real and completely honest, and I get to make mistakes and I get to kind of express my mistakes and talk about these things and talk about how like I'm very far from being this perfect person. So, I'm going to kind of call myself out a little bit and also use this opportunity and this episode to teach you guys a very valuable lesson when it comes to kind of emotional control. So, what I've learned is the last couple of days I've had a couple of outbursts. I've had a couple of situations happen where I'd be in the moment of competition and my anger would get the better of me because I would lose and things wouldn't go my way, and so then I would kind of mess things up basically. Like a couple of days ago, I literally stormed out of a game because I was that pissed off about what was happening, and yesterday another situation happened where I got angry at somebody because again, like because I was just in my moment of anger. And this has been a big problem. And I've kind of been humbled by God telling me, hey, like, you got to do better, right? And it's true that I've been kind of a little bit not in control of my anger. Anger has been a big problem, specifically recently. Like, it hasn't really been that bad throughout my life. It's actually kind of grown a little bit in recent months. And that's why for Lent I said that I was going to give up anger, but I have very spectacularly failed at that promise. So the question is, why do I kind of have these outbursts? And I know that they affect me. Logically, I can rationalize the fact that yeah, they will kind of mess me up in the future if I continue to fall into these patterns. But then when the emotions arise, I can't control them. So why is that? So that's kind of what I'm going to be just thinking about. I'm literally just going to be talking out my thoughts today about this situation, about like who I am as a person. How do I want to be, right? Obviously, I don't want to be someone who is angry all the time, and I don't want to be someone who kind of sulks and is angry when things don't go his way. But unfortunately, because of my emotions, that's where I kind of am right now. So I have to really think like, what am I supposed to do to be like calm and collected in those tough situations and learn to have fun even when I'm not winning. I have to learn these skills, and it's like I'm far away from doing that. But the question is, how will I be able to do that? I honestly don't know, but I think it's just about it's about trying to control my emotions. When I have that rage, keep it inside. Don't like let it burst out. And when I'm angry, anger doesn't just become this small thing. It becomes so overblown, and it becomes literally like intense rage and wrath where I'm cursing people out, and I'm very, I'm not, I wouldn't be acting very Christ like at all as a person who is a Christian and a follower of Christ. When I have my angry outburst, it is very, very far from being Christ like. And I sit here and I question, my own, like, I don't know, my own integrity, really. And I'd be like, am I really like, I say one thing, but then I go and do the other thing, and in this emotional heightened state, my anger gets put into these terrible things. Anger can be a good thing if you move them in the right direction, but for me, anger becomes like sulking and rage, and none of these things are going to help me at all. And obviously, they might hinder, ruin my relationships with people, and of course my relationship with God, because he looks down on me, and I understand that he looks down on me pretty disappointed. That's like, my son, why do you keep falling into these things? I understand that. But I mean, but God knows what I'm dealing with, and it's like it's hard to kind of explain, for a person that does is just watching this episode and doesn't really know what the inner workings are in my life. But it's hard to explain just how bad, like how bad the moment is, and then after the moment I feel that shame and guilt that, oh, I should not have lashed out in that way, I should not have been angry in that way. But in the heightened state of emotion, I let those feelings get the better of me. And when I ask the question as to why I do that, I kind of think, maybe it's because maybe it's because I want to win. Like, I want to win. I have a desire to win, obviously. Like, as a person who has been an athlete his whole life and trying to make it pro in professional football, obviously there is that innate desire to want to win that, of course, is there. But when you're just playing for fun, you have to learn to separate when you're playing for fun and it's okay to lose because there's nothing on the line versus when there's actually something on the line. But for me, I just can't rationalize that, so it kind of feels the same. But I think maybe it's just because in my life I want some wins. It's been a while since I've had like a real concrete definitive win in my life where things have gone well and everything went well. Nothing's been perfect. It's been all very very far from perfect. So when I think maybe psychologically I'm looking for a win, so then when I'm still deprived of those wins, however small, I let my anger and the fact this deep resentment in the fact that I hate losing come up and manifest itself in some very terrible ways. And these last couple of days were kind of experiences of that. I think that would be a big explanation as to why I lash out in anger like that. But it's not an excuse. Like, I understand just how bad these things are, and I understand just how bad this type of a mindset is. If I'm going to be angry, I should let anger help me do better, right? I should be angry and then in my rage go and try harder and push harder and run harder and I don't know, do things better and try to make improvements in my anger. Instead, my anger becomes just kind of like a sulking kind of resentment, bitterness type of thing, and then I push it onto other people, and that's a terrible quality. I understand that's a quality that's gonna destroy me in every aspect of my life, in my relationships, in my work, in every level of success that I might want to achieve. If I let this kind of evil side of me continue to make itself known, it's really really gonna hurt me in the long run. I understand that, but it's so much easier said than done because when you're in the moment of emotions, and it's with every single deadly sin that exists. When you're in the moment of emotions and of temptation, it's very easy to bite. It's very hard. It's much harder to resist the urge. For me right now, it's the urge to just get mad and become in this huge fit of rage whenever things don't go my way. It's hard for me to in the moment grasp that fact and just take a deep breath and stay calm. So I think all I have to do is I have to give it to God and I have to let Him work what He can. But I have to make certain steps and do certain strategies that can potentially help me do better, right? In other aspects of my life, find wins, find things I can be good at, find things I can enjoy, find things I can actually win at and actually be competitive at without being angry. I have to find these things in my life, and as I've just come back from a football trial where things didn't really go and really, things didn't really go so well, I now look and I'm kind of thinking of ways to move forward, and I have to find those ways. And I think if like really the biggest solution to all your problems is to like find stuff to do, right? Find stuff that really kind of gets you working, keeps you productive, or like keeps you with enjoyment and all that stuff, helps you enjoy your life, enjoy your days. That's really like a big solution to a lot of people's problems, to just find productive stuff to do that actually fills you up on a deeper level, more meaningful level. And I think that's what I have to do to try and avoid these angry situations. Things will go wrong, and things have gone wrong in my life so many times. It's just sometimes I fall into like, oh, I just fall within myself. I crumble when it comes to this fit of rage that I seem to fall into. But throughout my life, it's kind of not been like this. Honestly, like these last couple of days and the situations that have happened, it hasn't been exactly like this. Throughout my life, it's kind of been just like when things would go wrong, I would usually deal with it okay. It would not be this bad. Like sometimes I'd fall into these things, but I think I was learning to control myself a little bit. And now that in my own life and in other structures of my life have kind of fallen apart a little bit, I'm falling back into these patterns of anger. As a kid, it wouldn't be anger; it'd be like literal crying, like being sad and sulking. Now it's more so like just a fit of rage, which is a completely different emotion. Both of them very terrible and not anything that's going to be beneficial in my life going forward, and not anything that's actually going to help me get any wins from my life. So I don't know. As I talk through this, there could be some like deep psychological issue that is so deep rooted as to why I get angry at these certain situations. When I lose, I get angry instead of just enjoying things. Like, maybe it is a good quality that I don't like losing. It's definitely a good quality because you're gonna go and pursue wins, and that's what I'm gonna keep doing. But if I fall too far into myself and let losses turn into rage, then of course rage turns into a whole abundance of problems. So I can rationalize this and I can understand this, but the thing I really struggle with and what I'm trying to figure out is how do I, in the moment, resist that temptation? In the moment, control my emotions and allow myself to feel the emotion of anger, but without lashing out at people or without storming out of the room. This is a thing that I'm constantly dealing with and battling with every day. And what the aim of this episode and me kind of venting my own problems and being honest with my own problems is to show that I'm not this perfect person and I'm not this righteous Christian guy that is like that is enlightened or whatever. No, I'm very very far away from that. I have a lot of issues that I deal with each and every day. But it's also to kind of show you that, like, yeah, like I sit here grappling against anger. I grapple against anger. I wrestle with these emotions each and every day. And I understand that the only way I'm going to achieve anything is if I either A, learn to control it, or B, direct the anger into a different path, into something beneficial, rather than something that hinders me and ruins my relationships and all that kind of stuff, and all those hosts of problems that come up with constantly being angry when things don't go your way. I can rationalize it, but emotionally in the moment I cannot resist it. And I think the main message is you gotta learn to. And what I gotta do is I gotta learn to, and I gotta kind of learn to lose, basically. Like, learn that it is okay to lose. It is okay if things don't go my way, because, like, first of all, especially if it's something that doesn't matter, right? But I don't think your brain can compartmentalize. I genuinely don't think your brain is able to say, oh, in this situation you can be okay with losing, in this situation you shouldn't be okay with losing. I don't think your brain's able to do that. I think you either are okay with losing everywhere or you're not okay with losing everywhere, and that the latter seems to be me. But it kind of just escalates into something that I think no one wants it to be. So I sit here and I grapple with this issue, but anger's a big thing, and it's kind of been a big problem for me. That's why I said I was going to give it up for Lent and learn to control my emotions for Lent. It's still a learning process. I'm still super young. I still have a lot of time. But I know just how destructive it can be if I let it go out of control. I've seen snippets and kind of sneak peeks as to what it can do to destroy me in these last couple of days with these last events that recently happened. So I think my message is really very simple as a result of this whole thing that I'm dealing with, is that, yeah, if you're kind of like me, if you find that you rage at things and you get angry at things, reasonably or unreasonably, it is worth your time trying to find strategies so that when those emotions arise, the emotions will always be there. But when they arise, you're able to, instead of lashing out, control them, take deep breaths, kind of move them away, let them pass, right? Being stoic. Stoicism's an interesting concept, for example, because it's like, to be stoic is to say letting the emotions flow through you and not actually changing your reactions and stuff. Like, that is really what it means. So in the moment of anger, when you're actually angry, it's never going to not be there, but you have to kind of be able to be emotionally present, so that when you're feeling anger, instead of lashing out, you just let it pass through you and kind of learn to let it go, let it flow, and then kind of prioritize the calmer state. So I think that's what I would say. Like, if you have these problems as well, you have to find strategies, because I don't know the strategies. I'm not going to come here and give you these freaking crazy strategies. Maybe you need to meditate. Maybe you need to do deep breathing. Maybe you just need better sleep. Maybe that's all it takes. I don't know. Like, maybe I need to eat more food. I don't know. Like, I need to work out more. I don't know. Like, I'm not going to sit here and kind of come up with strategies because I don't really know. Like, I'm literally just venting out and kind of calling myself out a little bit as to these problems that I'm dealing with each and every day. And the worst part of it all is you don't feel good at the end. Like, you get angry and then you feel shame and you feel guilt that you kind of let yourself get out of control after the fact. So there's nothing good to it, really. You can direct your anger into good things, and that can be a good strategy to moving forward and and using the anger for good. But you can also learn to kind of just not be angry, and that takes a lot more mental strength and it takes a lot more emotional presence. But I think it is possible if you continue to, first of all, give it to God and trust in God, trust in His plan, and also just constantly be thinking about these things and thinking about strategies and ways you can do it. So I'm not going to come here and give you all these strategies because I don't know. I'm really just dealing with these things in real time. But that's the beauty of me having this podcast is I get to vent my frustrations. I get to kind of talk and call myself out. And as I started this episode with, like, the fact that I am not perfect, I'm very far away from that. I deal with these angry emotions, and anger seems to be my primary state, at least at the moment. Like, maybe I need something in my life that fills me up even more, that allows me to not be so angry all the time. But as of right now, I'm in a state and I'm in a moment in my life where I do get angry way too often. And this is something that I have to grapple with and I have to deal with. So if you kind of are dealing with these situations as well, just know that, like, you're not alone, right? You're not alone in dealing with these problems, and it's going to take a lot of time. You're not going to overnight just completely change fundamentally who you are. You got to build it over time, that emotional strength and that emotional self-control. But once you're able to control your emotions, if you ever get to that state, you're setting yourself up for some very, very good things in life, right? And that's where I'm trying to go, and that's what I'm trying to aim at every day. Trying to find answers is good first steps. Good first steps to trying to find these answers to why you do it and how you can do to stop it. But at some point, there is just a level of you just got to grind your teeth and keep moving, right? That's what I think. That's what I'm dealing with, and so those are my problems, right? That is what I've been dealing with these last couple of days, and I just wanted to kind of make it known, be completely honest and real with you, the audience watching this. And if you're dealing with these problems, just know that there are ways to overcome them. It will take time, but you're not alone in your problems. And God, of course, always understands, and He will always help you through it all. So continue to strengthen your faith. Don't let anger and whatever other sin you're in deter you from what matters most and move you away from what matters most. Because that's the biggest thing the devil wants. The devil wants to continue to make you fall into sin so much that you lose your faith. You start to think, oh, God's not going to forgive me because I keep sinning so much. But that's what the devil wants. He wants you to lose faith. He wants you to stop repenting, and he wants you to stop asking God for forgiveness and stop praying on it, right? Instead he wants you to just continue to fall deeper and deeper into sin. So understand that it's also a very moral issue. It's good versus evil, and it's within your heart, the good and the evil that is within, and you have to trust in God to let the good come out more often than the evil. And then one day, if you continue to persevere enough, you will finally make it out of those bad habits. For me, it's anger. For you, it might be something else. It's going to take time. It's going to be a process, but such is life, right? If it was all easy, it wouldn't really be fulfilling, as you know, right? I'm sure you know with the experience that you've all gone through in life. If it was easy, it's not fulfilling. But if it actually is difficult and there is something you need to overcome to get to a certain state, that is what makes life so beautiful, and that's what makes us humans be so purpose-driven. So that's really all I got to say for today, as in terms of what I'm dealing with. This is just like a real, honestly, like just down-to-earth, what I'm dealing with type of show. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I spoke to you in certain things. If you haven't yet, subscribe on YouTube and follow the show on Spotify. I also upload these episodes on Spotify every day as well, because sometimes it's easier for people to watch it there. Show your support. Let me know what you thought of this episode. Let me know what you're going to do for your future to be less angry or to sin less in whatever situation you're dealing with. And I appreciate you if you made it this far. So thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. And I'll see you for the next episode of the 365 podcast tomorrow.